Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you happen to be watching this. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today, I want to begin by just introducing Comp 104 and what we're going to try to be doing during the spring 2023 semester. As you can see on the slide here, this is going to be a hodgepodge of stuff. I hope that it gives you everything you need to get started. The basics are, I think, just that, the basics. This is what's going to happen in class every day. These are some of the expectations I have. This is a little bit about me as your audience for the papers that you're going to be writing. Um, Number one, let's talk about John Wooden. When I was a kid, John Wooden was the most famous basketball coach of the era. He won 10 national championships in 12 years. He won 7 straight national championships. There was an 88 game winning streak, a 664 and 102 one loss record. During the 60s and 70s, UCLA basketball and John Wooden were the best you could be. Yet, I think it's important to understand that he focused on the basics. And let me give you a quick example of what I mean. His first practice. During his first practice, he would have his basketball players, the best basketball players in the country, put on the socks and tie their shoes. He would illustrate, he had a lecture on putting on their socks and tying their shoes. My point for this is no matter how good we think we are as writers, no matter how great we think we are, the basics still matter. And so I think what we're going to be working on in Comp 104 is a refresher on some of the basics and then building on those basics to get better. And let me close this first section out by saying I don't think that I'm John Wooden. I don't think I have an 88 game winning streak as a writing instructor. But the fact of the matter is, I think that the principles about start with the basics is an important element of writing, just like it was for Wooden and basketball. The textbooks for this class. We're going to start out with Code Girls. We are going to move to Trail of Lightning. We are going to move to The Cold Dish. And we're going to finish with Ordinary Grace. Those of you who had me in class last semester, you kind of got away without having to read the text for uh, the the what we were doing in that class, the Green Book, the Anthropocene Reviewed. Code Girls is going to be the basics of your research paper. It's going to be the source of the things you write about. There are going to be quizzes over Trail of Lightning. There are going to be quizzes over the Cold Dish, and there are going to be a quiz over Ordinary Grace. And so I don't think you can get away without reading the books. That said, if you're not a native English speaker and you want to find these books in your native language, go for it. If you want to listen to the books, as long as you can find concrete details and quotations when it comes to writing of the papers, buy an audiobook. I am fine with that. Do what works for you to consume these textbooks, but you're going to have to consume them, read them in some way. I've already covered most of this, but again, a reminder it's the subject for the research paper. Your major essay will require quotations and concrete details from either the Cold Dish or Trail of Lightning. And the final paper is going to require quotations and concrete details from Ordinary Grace. And as I said earlier, there are going to be quizzes over Trail of Lightning, the Cold Dish, and Ordinary Grace. I'm going to be using Google Classroom. I use Google Classroom because it makes it easier for me to correct and grade papers straight up. So, all writing assignments, the daily writings, the essays, the random column stuff, all essays will be assigned from and completed in Google Classroom. There will be a link to the Google Classroom on the Brightspace D2L page. Grades will be posted in Google Classroom. Google Classroom will be the vast majority of this work that you do. On the other hand, there will be stuff in D2L. I will post everything in D2L. The syllabus is there. It's also in Google Classroom. The class schedule with the reading assignments and writing due dates is there in a class in Google Classroom. The daily writing prompts will be there and in Google Classroom. The YouTube playlist where this video and all of the videos for this class will go will be live by the time class starts. And there will be a Dropbox on the assessments tab where you will have to submit papers so that I can use the turn it in feature. And also, quizzes will be done here on D2L. So, even though I want the majority of things in Google Classroom, the quizzes will be in D2L, and the assessments, the papers will have to be submitted here as well as Google Classroom. Essay assignments, daily writing will be posted in the Getting Started window. You saw that. And quizzes will be assigned and completed in D2L or Brightspace, as I pointed out before. Those, I think, are the two big things that we'll be using Brightspace for. Basic class period. We will start with a question or a comment, or sometime during the class period. I want students to be able to talk. We'll discuss the assigned reading. We'll do a daily writing. Sometimes there'll be sample editing and revising of old essays, or essays if I have another section, or essays from the past. We'll discuss the assignment. We will spend perhaps a whole class period going through the research paper. We'll discuss editing, revising, planning, pre-writing, writing strategies. We're going to be doing all of that to make sure that we understand what the assignment calls for. Everyone should do a daily writing every day there's a class. The daily writing prompts will be in Google Classroom. They will have a format. You can see it up here on screen. You'll have time in class to work on each of these. And if you're gone for a couple of days, just be sure to check the dates and respond to the proper daily writing. Your first one in class is just write a 1 to 2 paragraph response to the following statement. And we'll do that as soon as we're done with the presentation in class. If at first you don't succeed, then skydiving definitely isn't for you. Tell me what you think. Is it funny? Is it a little too dark? Do you agree with the statement? Does it remind you of anything? All of those things are fair game for the response. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Whatever. Okay? Grading. The thing I think that the vast majority of you are most concerned about. Major essays. The major essays are the research paper, the classification and division essay, and the evaluation. It's 40% of the final grade. Research paper prep is 15% of the final grade, which means that each of these two papers, the proposal and the annotated bibliography, are going to be 7.5%, and these three papers are going to be, 13.3% basically each. Quizzes are going to be 15%. Daily writing, in-class writings, 10%. The conferences and writing labs that I'll talk about a little bit later are 10%. And the random column stuff, I think I have it as 15 on slide. that too will be 10% because we're not doing 105% in the grade. So the random column stuff should be changed to 10% here. On the grading scale, when I post letter grades, this is what they're going to be because I feel better thinking in terms of letter grades. If I have to post a number in Google Classroom and D2L for that matter, both require me to post a number. An A will be 97. I like the idea of pluses and minuses, and so you can see what's going to be there. And these will be the grades you'll see on writing papers. If you're not in class, let me know as soon as possible, even if it's for an extracurricular activity. I know that the athletic uh, department sends out emails, but I'm not on all the email lists, and I don't always get the uh, email saying these students will be gone for basketball or these students will be gone for soccer or whatever. If you're gone, do the daily writing. Remember, it's posted in Google Classroom. The slides that are used as class notes will be made available. They will be made available as a YouTube video, and they'll be made available on the playlist. And that playlist, there'll be a link in Google Classroom to the playlist. There'll be a link on the Brightspace D2L page to the playlist. One of the comments I got last semester was that people didn't understand why the Google or the YouTube videos were shorter. I think I speak faster when I'm just doing the videos than I do when I'm in class. I usually don't do as many examples or as many what ifs. I don't supplement quite as much on the YouTube videos as I do in class. I don't pause to ask for questions. I don't get questions. So they're going to be a little bit shorter. All right. But I think, and I will repeat, I don't use them as a substitute for class because number 4, absences may reduce your grade. On the syllabus, I believe I have it as 3 unexcused absences may reduce your grade. And again, an unexcused absence is one where you didn't let me know, you didn't contact me. Um, so if there are 3 of those, may reduce your grade. And as while we're on the subject of grades, remember to look at the syllabus. Late papers can't receive an A. If it's more than 3 days late, it's going to reduce your grade significantly. Remember some of those things as well. The writing workshop. 4 or 5 students will report to class. A list of students who will attend each session will be posted on Brightspace and Google Classroom. The students and the instructor will work together on essays in progress or essays that have been submitted and graded and what should have been done differently. And if you're not in class that day, you watch a video and you do a daily writing and you call it good. Okay? And we're just going to work through the process of writing in the writing workshops. Sometimes people are going to read their paragraphs out loud. They're going to read their papers out loud. That too is going to be part of the writing workshop experience. If you have questions, please ask. I'm in Bede Hall 321. My office hours are going to be Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 1 to 2 and from 3 to 3:45. There's a phone in the office, and you can email me at leonard.collis@mountmarty.edu. Want to take a little time to talk about plagiarism. I didn't have any issues last fall that I know of. I'm thankful for that. But let's talk about plagiarism in general here. Number 1, you have responsibilities in school, you have responsibilities in professional situations to acknowledge intellectual property you've made use of when you create arguments of your own. I took this quotation directly from Everything's an Argument, page 484. You can't steal money, you can't steal cars, you can't steal ideas. If you take an idea and you're working with an idea, give credit to the source of that idea. We will talk about how to properly do that. Everything's an argument, page 484 again, claiming as your own words, research, or creative work of others. I would add that sometimes it's even the patterns of writing of others. And there are several ways to plagiarize: buying essays, paying someone else to write the essay, copying and pasting work that you didn't create. And again, the key word is you didn't create it, and it can be work from any other spot other than your brain to your fingers to your keyboard. And if you didn't clearly indicate the source of an idea, that's obviously not yours. If you use a paraphrase that's too close to the original wording or structure, even if you cite the source, but you don't put quotation marks around it, that's plagiarism. If you leave out the parenthetical in-text reference for a quotation, that's plagiarism. Those are accidental. Those are things we can work on. But remember, you have to give credit where credit is due. Some information does not need to be cited if there's common knowledge that your intended readers should know. Superman's secret identity is Clark Kent. Everybody should know that. If there are facts available from a wide variety of sources, and or those facts are included in introductory textbooks, probably you don't need to do that. If it's questions from, are you smarter than a fifth grader? You probably don't need those kinds of facts to cite those. From the syllabus, plagiarism is defined: deliberately uses someone else's language, ideas, or other original, not common knowledge material without acknowledging its source. Acknowledge the source. Texts published in print or online, to manuscripts, and to the work of other student writers. Plagiarized work will receive a 0. Plagiarism detection tools, Turnitin, Google Classroom will be used to detect any plagiarized in student works, and I reserve the right to use other tools to detect plagiarism and to issue an oral quiz over any writing assignment to determine if the student wrote the submitted work. Finally, just a couple of things: maxims governing the class. A maxim is a short, pithy statement expressing a general truth or a rule of conduct. So these are kind of the rules that I'm going to try to live by and ask you to live by as we go over them in class. Don't attribute to malice that which can be attributed to ignorance. This is also known as Hanlon's razor. I'm going to assume that, you don't hate me. You're not out to get me. I ask you to make this same assumption. Sometimes people just don't know. Try to help alleviate that ignorance. Don't take dull for an answer. One of the things I just want to do is to shake people out of their comfort zones a little bit, to think about things differently, and to find a new way to express old ideas. The next two are kind of tied together. Omit needless words, short, not shallow. I believe that writing should be vigorous and concise. And so these two maxims, I think, put that together. I don't think things should be short for the sake of being short. I want people to, again, avoid being dull. To avoid being shallow. However, I think that being concise is a big part of writing. Readers can write and BS better than those who claim to be natural BSers. This is back to the idea of read the work, use the concrete details, make sure you read all of the research you're going to be talking about. And finally, because this is a class on critical thinking and critical reading and critical writing, Experts are fallible. All of us are humans. Therefore, we're all fallible. But the fact that experts are fallible does not mean that the opinion of non experts should be preferred over an expert's analysis. Non experts are also fallible. Non experts also make mistakes. Yes, they can catch lightning in a bottle. Yes, they can be right one time out of 100 when the expert is wrong that time. This is a class of academic research, and we are going to focus on experts, those who have spent their lifetimes working on the subject matter. I think that's going to be it. I think that's going to wrap it up. Hope everyone has a good day. Hope to see you in class. And, if you have any questions, please let me know.